Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shelley Boughton, and I am the Chief Academic Officer here in Everett Public Schools. My team and I are so very pleased to welcome you this evening to our Kindergarten Kick Off, which launches our enrollment season for our kindergarten classes. This is a really exciting time for you and for us because this is helping us to kick off for the 24-25 school year. And it's an exciting time for you families who's your child's life in those first years, maybe some of you for your first time ever here in Everett Public Schools. We know there's a lot to learn about kindergarten in Everett, and we hope that this evening will be both engaging and informative for you. And we'll be sharing information with you about how to enroll, what we do in kindergarten, some special programs that we offer in Everett, as well as other opportunities that several of our team are here, and the hopes that we can really get you to a great start with your child's kindergarten experience. You'll notice there's a question and answers or a Q&A box on your toolbar so that you can type in questions as we go along. After each section of tonight's presentation, we will be responding to your questions. And if you have additional questions at the end of this presentation, please type them into the Q&A box with your name and email address so we can respond to them individually in a timely manner if we don't answer your questions during the presentation. So we have this evening interpreters for, we're pleased to provide interpreters for the languages on the slide. We have Russian, Spanish, and Ukrainian. And for you to access a language other than English, please use the interpretation button located in the taskbar on your screen. It looks like the button on the slide where it says interpretation. And then please select the language you would like to hear, either Ukrainian, Russian, or Spanish. It's also important for you to mute your audio, your original audio, or the English version will also be heard as well. So please note you may see a transcription option on your toolbar. However, Zoom reports that transcription is not currently functional, so you can have the interpretation, but not the transcription. At this time, I am very honored to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Ian Salzman, who would like to share a special welcome to you via video message.
Welcome to our kindergarten families. Parents, we're so excited to have you here, getting ready to start your journey in education with your students. You realize your class of 2037. I just want to welcome you and say that on March 4th is the first time that you could register for kindergarten. We're excited to have you. We can't wait to see your students. So please register on March 4th and welcome to the Everett Public School System. I'm Ian Saltzman, your superintendent, and we're here for you. Thank you. Welcome to our kindergarten.
Excellent. We're so sad that Dr. Salzman couldn't be here this evening due to a prior commitment, but we're always very excited when he is able to welcome our new families to our system. So before we begin the overview of our kindergarten programs, I would like to take just a moment and respectfully acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Coast Salish, Snohomish, and Tulalip tribes people on whose shoulders we stand. Everett Public Schools is committed to improving the relationships and identifying Indigenous peoples and exploring our true selves. We express our deepest respect and gratitude to the ancestors of this land, and we strive to create equitable outcomes and build a culture of inclusive belonging for all students, teachers, staff, and community. So to get us started this evening, I would love to introduce you to our amazing team of panelists who are going to share about our kindergarten programming. We have Anthony Anderson, who is the Director of STEM Partnerships and Career and Technical Education. We have Ann Arnold here tonight, and she is the Director of P5 Instruction and Early Learning Programs. Chris Fulford is the Director of Categorical Programs. Kelly Clevenger, who is the Executive Director of Special Services. Kathy Reeves, who is the Director of Communications. And Senya Yakovlev, who is a Student Data Systems Coordinator. So this evening, you may be wondering, like, what kinds of information are you going to hear? What kinds of questions you might already have in your head? And we're actually going to provide this agenda today where we're going to go through kindergarten eligibility and enrollment processes. And we're going to pause after that section to get some questions and answers for you if you have any questions. So as you're hearing some of that, you can enter questions into the Q&A box. You can wait till the end of that section, put that in there. And our team will actually be responding to you in live time as best we possibly can. We're then going to go through talking about Everett Ready, which is an amazing program we have here in Everett for kind of a jump start in getting kids ready for school. And then we've got a day in the life of kindergarten and multilingual learners. Dual language program. Again, after we get to choice programs, there'll be a stop for some questions and answers. We will hear a little bit about special services for our students in kindergarten, transportation needs, food and nutrition services, health services, and communications. And then finally, we'll get to some kindergarten dates. So as you're looking at this agenda, you might want to just say, hey, if you have some questions about transportation, know that we will cover that in the transportation section. And if we don't answer your question during that time, then that would be a great opportunity to drop something in the Q&A box. Okay. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Senya, who works with data systems that really help us to support enrollment. And she can help you walk through the steps to help enroll your student in school. We really are excited for you to be here tonight, and we hope you learn a lot. Senya?
Hello, everybody. I am going to start off with talking about kindergarten eligibility and who is eligible for kindergarten for the 24-25 school year. So that is going to be children who reside within the Everett School District boundaries and who turn 5 by midnight on August 31st, 2024. That means they're 5 before the first day of September. And that's the state of Washington uniform entry age. That means that that's true for all schools in the state of Washington. So we want to go ahead and say that enrollment begins Monday, March 4th, 2024. That's 1 week from today that you can go ahead and start giving your enrollment information to the schools to say, hey, I am ready to sign my student up for kindergarten. I am ready for this to begin. And we have 2 options for you to go ahead and do your enrollment. There's online enrollment, and you can upload your required documentation, or you can print and complete enrollment documents and take them to your student's home school. And so those are your options. So we can say any of those students who meet that eligibility criteria are ready to enroll in kindergarten. So first I'm going to talk about the online enrollment process. And so let me go ahead and talk about that. You're going to go ahead and go to the district website, the Everett Public Schools website on everettsd.org. And then when you get there, you're going to get to our online enrollment portal by clicking on the enrollment icon on the main navigation header. It looks like a person in a circle with a plus sign on the upper right. If you're trying to enroll on a phone, you're going to go to the hamburger menu. That's the one that kind of looks like 3 lines in a row. That's why I call it a hamburger menu. And you're going to look for the word enrollment. The online portal is available in 4 languages: English, Spanish, Russian, and Vietnamese. And then on the enrollment frequently asked questions page, that's the first page it's going to drop you right on. There are 5 icons. One of those is for kindergarten enrollment. It looks just like a backpack. If you click on the backpack, it's going to take you to the online enrollment launch page. There are 2 different ways to start the process. One is for families that are new to Everett Public Schools using the Enroll Online buttons. For new families, for the fall, those are orange. And then one for current students, that's for families that have current students. They have active students who are already attending an Everett Public School, and that's used by clicking the info button. Don't worry if you accidentally use the big enroll online buttons. For new families, if you're a family with a student who already has a student that's attending Everett Public Schools, it's going to work anyway. We are going to make that happen. You can expect that the entire enrollment process will take 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to take you some time. There's a lot of questions that are there, but you can save and come back later. You don't have to finish the process all at once. If you don't have a document when you're there filling it out, you can save, come back, take a picture, upload it later. It's not something that's like, oh, I have to do this right when I sit down and be done with it all at the same time. After you've completed your submission, you're going to receive a confirmation email that says you have submitted. And this confirmation email means that you've submitted, but it does not mean that everything is complete. Once you've submitted, it's going to be reviewed by our office staff and make sure so that they can make sure that everything is there. And they may need to follow up with you if there are any questions, they find that there's additional documentation needed. You're also going to expect another email from the school or that gives you, and from the LMS team, that's the LITS team, that says near the beginning of August, that says, here's how you log into our system so you can check and see what's going on with your student. You can log into the gradebook, you can log into all of those other systems, and that will be a follow-up then. So that's the overview of how to get to the online enrollment process. So what are the required documents that you need to enroll your student in kindergarten? These documents are required for all new kindergarten students. A proof of current address. We need that for everybody who's enrolling. And this could be a utility bill, a rental agreement, a homeowner's policy. We want these documents to be dated within the last 6 months. And they want to include the parent or legal guardian's name as well as the current address. Second is going to be a proof of age. This is required for all new kindergarten entrants. It's going to be a birth certificate or another certificate showing a date of birth. It could be a passport or an adoption record. It could be anything else that's allowable by law. We're going to want a certificate of vaccination status. This is going to be printed from Washington MyIR. That's the Washington State Immunization Database, or it could be the official certificate of immunization status, or another thing that includes your student's vaccination records and is signed by a medical professional. Then we are going to be looking for any other documents that are important to taking care of your child at school. It could be including any custody or legal documents, any medication orders, things that are important for the school to know. For families who are using a phone to complete the process online, it's easier to take pictures of your documents before you begin. It's also important to know that students who are already enrolled in one of our ECAP, developmental preschool or transitional kindergarten programs, or students who are receiving regular services through our itinerant services, they don't need to re-enroll. They're already our students. We already know who they are, and we already know they're coming to kindergarten. So their teachers are going to contact you to complete their kindergarten specific transition information as they move into the next part of their school journey. Now we're going to talk about the paper enrollment process. I have a little bit less to say here. I'm not walking you through how to find it on the district website. But if you choose to enroll using the traditional paper enrollment process, you're going to need the same documents. Those same required documents are there. And as you look at the screen, you can see all of the enrollment materials, if you want to download them before you go to the school, are available to download from the website, as well as translated versions. You can also pick them up from a school and then bring them back. You can deliver your paper packet to your neighborhood school and bring all of your additional required documents with you so that they can be verified. The school staff will take photocopies as needed and then return your documents. Whichever enrollment process you choose, it's important to enroll early so your student can participate in all of the transition events at their school and attend Everett Ready in August. Finally, are you interested in your child attending a school other than their neighborhood school? The opportunity to transfer to a school other than their assigned neighborhood school is dependent on several factors, including space availability. Not all transfer requests are approved. all students who wish to attend a school different than their neighborhood school, other than those who are accepted to one of our choice programs, need to first enroll at their neighborhood school and then submit a transfer request. This ensures that your child has a school and a teacher expecting them for their first day of school, regardless of whether their transfer is approved or not. School transfer requests received after June 1st are considered late requests and are reviewed after we looked at all of the space availability after the start of school in September. So those ones are especially important to ensure that you have enrolled at your neighborhood school so that they can start school on the first day. And then if they are approved, they can change schools after that approval. If you have a question about the enrollment process, please type them into the Q&A box on your toolbar. We're going to read the questions that apply to the group and provide answers. Thank you so much for letting me introduce you to the enrollment process.
Thank you, everyone who's been putting questions and answers into our Q&A. Several have been answered just via typing in response, but I do have one, Senya, that I'd like to throw back to you, which is if they have had all of their vaccinations but from a different state, what is the easiest and most direct protocol to get us that information?
So if you have the availability of getting that from your medical records, you can print that out and get it signed by your previous physician, or have your medical records transferred to a current physician and have them signed off there. That's probably two easy ways to get that done. We can also oftentimes take a printout from your current medical records if you can log into an old medical record system. And that's a way that we can sometimes take those records and get them in as quickly as possible. We do the best we can to verify those records. You can also fill out a paper certificate of immunization status and bring it to your doctor to have them sign it.
Thank you so much, Senya. We do have a question about choice programs, and that is coming up later in our session. So I'm going to reserve answering that, but as questions pop up later, there will be a Q&A opportunity to ask specific questions about those programs. Finally, I do have a question about transfer paperwork. Enrollment has not been completed yet. If you are an employee in the district and hoping your child will come with them, do you enroll at the school or the homeschool first?
I would still encourage you to enroll at your neighborhood school first. The school staff can transfer that enrollment information to the transfer school if it's approved. And then it's still easy enough to make sure that that enrollment information goes over to the transfer school when it's approved, and the enrollment goes there after approval. So that's the best bet. We like to encourage everybody to fill that out for their neighborhood school as the consistent process.
Thank you so much. I think the rest of the questions are going to are currently being answered in chat through typing. So we're going to move on, and I'd like to introduce Ann Arnold, Director of P5 Instruction and Early Learning Programs. She's going to now share some information about our schools and more specifically our kindergarten programs.
Thanks, Greta. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to have you here tonight to learn about kindergarten in Everett Public Schools. It is the beginning of a great adventure for your children, and one that I'm especially passionate about. So we're going to give you some background information and then hopefully be able to answer any questions that you have. So in Everett Public Schools, we have 18 elementary schools and Port Gardner, the Parent School Partnership Program located in Sequoia High School. Port Gardner is a choice program, and you will learn more about that specifically in a little bit. The schools listed here in orange on our slide are late start schools, meaning they run from 9:15 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The schools in blue type, Hawthorne, Lowell, Madison, for example, are early start schools, and they begin at 8:30 a.m. and end at 2:50 p.m. These schedules are determined by transportation and are not flexible. Our buses can't get every student to school at the same time, so we have a staggered start time for our elementary schools. Your students' schedule is determined then by the school where they attend. For example, if your child is assigned to Woodside Elementary School because that's the neighborhood you live in, they will start school at 8:35 a.m. and be dismissed at 2:50 p.m. If you aren't sure where your neighborhood or home school is, please use the Find My School and Route button. It looks like the picture on the right-hand side of the slide, and it's located on the district website. All you will need to do there is put your address in, and it will tell you what school your child is assigned to. So next, we're going to share a few of the first experiences of your child in kindergarten. And that is specifically our exciting program called Everett Ready. We have a phrase that says, in EPS, kindergarten begins with Everett Ready. And that is a transition into kindergarten program held for 4 days in August. This year, it is scheduled for August 19, Monday, through Thursday, August 22nd, and it's in the morning. So students come to their elementary school where they're enrolled. They have a half-day program for 3 hours. Transportation is provided for qualified students, meaning if you would be transported to school once the regular school year starts, your child is transported to school during Everett Ready. And another part of that program is a family engagement meeting, which each school schedules themselves and will notify you of as a new kindergarten family. It's an opportunity to meet the principal, some of the teachers, some of the staff in the office, and you just get general information about how the programs and events will be taking place at your child's elementary school. Everett Ready is really important because it builds relationships with teachers and peers. It helps your student become familiar with the school campus, helps them learn school routines, and explore classroom materials. It gives them a sense of confidence and safety, and when they start school a couple of weeks later, they will be ready to go, and they won't have to go through that transition of separating from their parents and going off to school for the first time. We really recommend arranging your summer schedule in August so that your child can participate in Everett Ready. It is a really great way to transition into a successful kindergarten experience for our students. Another part of kindergarten, especially in those first few weeks, is WAKIDS. WAKIDS stands for Washington Kindergarten Inventory of Developing Skills. It's actually 3 components of a transition program to help students and families become well-established and connected to their elementary school in that first important year. Family connection meetings are the first part of WAKIDS. This is a meeting that welcomes families into our Washington K-12 system, and we recognize parents and guardians and family members as partners in their child's education. Every kindergartner who's coming into kindergarten in Everett Public Schools has a 30 to 40-minute meeting with their kindergarten teacher. So that's the parent or guardian, and the child has a scheduled meeting during the first 3 days of school with that teacher. They come into the classroom, they meet the teacher, they get to share their information about who they are, what the things they love to do, and it's the beginning of a really positive relationship between the teacher and the child. The second part of WAKIDS is the whole child assessment, and this is an observational assessment that takes place during the first 8 weeks of school, and teachers observe students while they are going through the kindergarten day. They learn about their skills and their strengths, and they also learn where they can support them if they have needs. This is not a test that children study for or that they sit down and take with paper and pencil, but it is observational data that teachers take as they get to know children and get to see what things they are strong at and have great skills in. It has 6 components or 6 domains. They are literacy, language, cognitive, social emotional, physical, and math. The third part of WAKIDS is called Early Learning Collaboration. And this is an effort to connect the preschool and childcare and early learning experiences that your child has had with kindergarten. And the way we do that is by gathering early learning partners and kindergarten teachers together to support smooth transitions for children. We have professional learning experiences that they both attend. We have transition reports that our preschools that are within the district complete to share with kindergarten teachers. And in general, try to build a collaborative relationship between our preschool partners and our kindergarten teachers so that there's vertical alignment as children move from preschool and other early learning programs into kindergarten. Our goal with WaKids is to make sure that our children have a well-supported, highly successful launch to their kindergarten experience. So a day in the life of a kindergarten is a really exciting, wonderful day. I had the privilege of teaching kindergarten for 7 years, and it's still my happiest place when I go into a school. Depending on the start and end time of the school, on the scheduling of various specialists, the day for a kindergartner will be slightly different in schedule, but it will include all of these components here. It will include a morning welcome circle. It will include social emotional learning. In our district, we use a curriculum called Second Step that supports student learning around being a good friend, sharing, using words to ask for what we want, etc. Then we move into literacy, which involves building foundational skills focused on letters and sounds to support early learning and writing. We have lunch and recess. We have math time, which is our curriculum for math is illustrative mathematics. And the exciting thing about this math curriculum, it is the math curriculum we use all through elementary school, middle school, and up to algebra in high school, which means our children really have an aligned and cohesive exposure and experience with mathematics so that they can become successful mathematicians as they move through their educational years. The math curriculum focuses on counting and cardinality, understanding addition and subtraction, early concepts in place value, measurement, and geometry. The next item on the kindergarten schedule is called Plan, Do, Reflect. And this is a really unique program that we have in our district and in many districts in our area, which is play-based because we know that children learn through play, but it also is intentional. So children go into Plan, Do, Reflect time making choices about what they would like to do. So that's the planning part. Then they go into the activity and get to experience all the pieces of that. And then they finally reflect on how that experience went, what they learned, what they might have done differently. And you may think that this is a lot to expect from a kindergartner, but once they have this routine in place, it's a really effective part of their day and one that most kindergartners look forward to every day. But they have another recess. They see specialists, and specialists in Everett can be physical education or what we used to call PE or gym, library, music, art, or STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. No school has all of these specialists, but they all have some of them. And it just depends on which school your student goes to and which specialists are part of their day. They do all have physical education, a library, and one of the arts. So that's something to look forward to. If you go back to the schedule for the day, you can see that we have science. And in kindergarten, we have 2 project-based science kits, which go over an extended period of time. One is called Animals 2x2, which is a study that children love about animals of all kinds, how they live, how they grow, how they survive. And then also Balls and Ramps, which is a physical science kit that talks about angles and the way all kinds of balls move through space and the ways you can do it. It is quite an interesting and highly interactive kit. I remember the balls going in every direction across my kindergarten classroom. So that is the typical day for a kindergartner. And once families are enrolled in their school, there are opportunities to tour the school and see the things going on that we've just described. You can meet teachers. You can learn about the day for your student specifically at that school. Usually that opportunity is scheduled for May, and it's called Getting Ready for Kindergarten Orientation. And of course, we encourage every kindergartner again to attend Everett Ready in August. This is a little bit more about Plan, Do, Reflect. As I explained earlier, it's a model of play-based learning, planning what the intentional choice that a student wants to do, doing it, and then reflecting on how that experience went. Here are the qualities that are developed and supported in Plan, Do, Effect: enhancing creativity, contributing to the development of self-regulation and social skills. Children are all working together. Promotes physical well-being and coordination. There's a lot of fine motor that goes into this experience. Literacy-based materials encourage reading and writing. They might have a writing center where they tell their own stories. And then that enhances communication and collaboration. And while we continue always to teach kids how to be good friends and to be safe in their play, it develops character and citizenship. Another question that often comes up in the kindergarten time and is about before and after school care. We talked about when school starts and when it ends. And for some families, they also need to have this before and after school care. So Everett Public Schools partners with the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club to provide before and after school care at many, but not all of our schools. There are also community child care programs that transport students to and from some schools for before and after school care. So once your student is enrolled, you need to contact your neighborhood school to find out what options are available for the 24-25 school year. We've also provided links here for the YMCA, YWCA, and the Boys and Girls Clubs. So you can go onto their site and see which schools they serve and how to get more information about those programs. But it's another reason why it's so important to get your student enrolled in your neighborhood school. This kind of care is specific to each school. So getting enrolled and then finding out what the options are is a really great way to go. And now we're going to have an opportunity to write your questions about kindergarten in the Q&A box, as Greta described below, and she will be reading them and providing answers.
Okay, as before, many have been responded to via typing, but I'm going to read a couple out and get some support on answering what I cannot. So one of the questions is about the before and after school programs and how quickly they fill up. Again, the best avenue for you is to reach out to those programs directly. So contacting your neighborhood school, determining what programs are available to you, and contacting them on the information for enrollment. So you do not miss those windows or feel like you have the adequate information. I do have a question about choice programs. Choice programs is coming up next. So I'm going to reserve that question until after and see it may be getting answered there. Also has come up about snack time, or is lunchtime the only available time for students to eat? That is really classroom and school dependent. So that's a conversation you can have with your teacher as you get to meet with them for those family conferences about their protocol and policy around snack times within the classroom. All right. Thank you so much. Next, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Chris Fulford, who is going to share some information about Everett's programs for multilingual learners and our dual language program.
Well, thank you so much, Greta. So in Everett Public Schools, we are super excited. We have over 120 languages represented throughout our school district. And one of the things that's exciting about that is we really feel that it's an asset for these students. And they really bring a lot to our schools, especially as we celebrate the diversity of our school district. When we have multilingual learners who join our schools, we really encourage the families to maintain their home language or native language throughout their educational career. This is really an important piece and will help students navigate their educational career. All families who register in the state of Washington complete a home language survey. This survey ask different questions about the language that's spoken in the home or what the child's first language is. If a family indicates that their home language is a language other than in English, they are given a screener test to see if they qualify for multilingual supports. If they do qualify for these supports based on the screener, they are provided supports during the school day, and these supports are based in every one of our schools. We have teachers who are designated to this program and supporting students throughout their day as they learn English. The next thing I want to highlight is our dual language program. This is a really exciting program that we launched a few years back at Emerson Elementary. This is a Spanish immersion program, and we really focus on building students' capacity to speak in both Spanish and English. The makeup of the classroom is 50% of the students are native Spanish speakers, and 50% of the students in the class are students who may speak another language. This language does promote a high academic achievement for all students, and we really feel strongly that this is one of the best ways to close the achievement gap for our Spanish-speaking students. Throughout the program, as students increase their language acquisition, they can earn the seal of biliteracy as they will enter into middle school. This program also provides opportunities for culturally responsive teaching throughout the school. It does foster and promote cultural diversity and respect among students and their families. And really, we see it promoting a sense of unity throughout the entire school. This will be a K-12 program. We currently have kindergarten, first, second, and next year we'll be offering third grade. For enrollment in this program, it will launch on March 31st, and you will be notified throughout that process. There is potentially a wait list, and so we will work with families as they apply for the program. If you have further questions about this program, you can contact Emerson Elementary's principal, Blythe Young, or Erica Velasco, who is our dual language and multilingual learner facilitator. I am now going to turn it over to Anthony Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Fulford. I am here to talk about two of our programs, choice programs that allow parents to keep that triangle of communication sealed by allowing the families to work with the teacher and the students, so there's always a bond between each and every one of you. This opportunity is provided at Lighthouse Elementary, where parents work with a co-op to support the teachers in leading small group, also going on excursions in the community, and it provides students that opportunity K through 5 and continues through with parents working side by side with not only their teacher, but also working closely with the principal. For more information about this program, you have the opportunity to contact Stephen Hopkins, principal at Jefferson Elementary. And also you can contact the Choice office and provide more information is provided on the Choice website. And our other program is Port Gardner. This partnership also continues to keep that continuum open, that pyramid open, where parents work in a side by side with teachers, also in a blended model where parents can teach the students offsite, and the students also have the opportunity to attend classes at Sequoia High School location in the Port Gardner location. Enrollment starts June 1st. And it's a K-12 program, and contacts for this is Megan Slaker, and the office manager, Belinda Mountjoy, principal, and you can contact my office, Shamar Desardin. Both of these programs offer students the opportunity to actually work in an environment that is very comfortable to them, and parents can be comfortable also in this environment, working with their student and side by side with their teachers and administrators. Next slide. And if you have any further questions around the Lighthouse in the Port Gardner, you can look at also being a parent volunteer for these programs, and you would have to be on the district website under parents, click on the tab parents, and then click on volunteers and fill out the volunteer application. And students from out of the district would need to apply for the choice transfer from their home district. All students need to apply each year via the choice program applications. Students do not need to complete the enrollment application before applying for the choice programs they're interested in. And back over to Mrs. Fleckenstein.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anthony. We actually do not have any currently open questions. Our panel has been very wonderful at responding in time before we moved on. So I would like to go ahead and introduce Kelly Clevenger. She is our Executive Director for Special Services and will share information about how Everett's Special Services support our students. Thank you, Kelly.
Good evening. I'm so excited to be here with you. I also, like Ann Arnold, taught kindergarten, and I taught it for 12 years, and it was absolutely my favorite, absolute favorite job of my whole life. So welcome to kindergarten. Special services are for students who qualify for extra support due to a disability. If they have an individual education plan, or what we call an IEP, it will transfer with them to kindergarten. So at the beginning, you heard that if they have an IEP, or if they're in our developmental preschool, right now that you will not need to re-enroll them, and their IEP will move with them to kindergarten. And all kindergarten students, including those who have special needs, are invited to attend Everett Ready. If your student is in developmental preschool, re-enrollment is not necessary. I just said that. So now you know that, like, for the third time, they will automatically roll up to kindergarten. But I do want to say that if you feel like your child might have a disability, on the slide that I has presented here, there is a phone number that you can call if you think that your child has a disability, and you can refer them for a screening and then eventually possibly an evaluation. And there's also a link on this slide deck for Child Find. It's called Child Find. So we are an inclusive school district. We are working really hard to make sure that all students have access to everything possible. And so we're going to be really excited to welcome your students to kindergarten.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Reeves, the Director of Communications, and I have about 3 or 4 different topics I'm going to cover with you this evening. The first is about transportation. So transportation is provided for all students that reside outside a half-mile radius of the school. And you can find both that and the designated bus stop for your neighborhood by looking online on the website before school starts, about 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks before school starts. Those routes and the timing will be on the website. Plus, if you're within that half-mile radius, you will receive a call and an email prior to the start of school letting you know what bus your child can take. And all seats on school buses are assigned, and the kindergartners get to sit in the front of the bus. So it's a brand new experience for a lot of kids to ride the bus. Some are really excited, some are a little nervous, but you can get them excited and ready for it before school starts. And you can see right there, if you just go to the website /bus routes, you'll be able to find out information about your school bus for next year during the summertime. The next thing is about food and nutrition. So our food and nutrition department offers nutritious and delicious meals that include seasonal fresh fruits and vegetables, scratch-made whole grain foods and lean proteins, and they have vegetarian and gluten-free options too. Students may bring their breakfast and or lunch from home, or they can eat breakfast at home. They don't have to bring their breakfast, and they can purchase either a hot or a cold meal at school. You can help them do that by setting up an online account for the school meals. And to note, all the school meals are prepared free of the allergens listed here: peanuts, tree nuts, shellfish, and pork. And if you have any other allergies, on the Food and Nutrition webpage, you can submit a special dietary accommodation request form to make sure that your child doesn't have access to any of the foods that they may be allergic to. In addition, free and reduced meals are available, but also meals are provided by the Community Eligibility Provision, which has 18 of our schools where meals are offered at no charge at all to families. So the schools are listed on the Food and Nutrition webpage. You can find out if your school is one of the ones that has a no charge to family, or whether you can apply, if you fit certain parameters, you can also get free lunch, even if that's not part of your school's overall CEP eligibility. The website has a lot of information about the details of the food, the nutritional parts of it, and you can find all of that stuff on the Food and Nutrition webpage. The other piece, and you guys have already asked a few questions about this and talked about it a little bit, but it's about health services. So as mentioned, during the enrollment period, you will complete a confidential health form. And if there are any medical concerns, you will be contacted by the nursing staff to help develop a health plan for your student prior to school attendance at Everett Ready in August. And a health plan might be for things like asthma or allergies or diabetes. The nurse will work with you to make sure that your child's health needs are met. You can submit your child's immunization records, as Senya mentioned, on the website, and you can see the MyRI site that we talked about. These are required to attend Everett Ready. So all of the required vaccinations are listed on the EPS website, and a common question we get asked, so I'll just mention it here, the COVID vaccine is not required. But you can see which ones are by going on to the Health and Nutrition website, the Health Services website. And the last one for me is communications. So we're excited that you're here. We want to make sure that you stay connected and informed about events, news, school announcements. The first piece that really helps keep you updated through phone, call, text messages, and email is Blackboard Connect. When you register with your school, make sure to enter up-to-date contact information so you can receive emergency messages, information about absences, and school and district information. For instance, we had a 2-hour late start today because of snow in the area. And if you have information updated in that system, then you would have received a call and you'd know that first thing this morning. So make sure to keep that information updated. Even if you have to change a phone number, you can have your school office help you do that in the system. Also, the district has an app that combines everything from the parent alert system and our website to social media. And it also has parent and student portals to help you get in to see information about your students' classrooms. The push notifications are used just in case of emergency. But if you want to download the free Everett Public Schools app, just go into the iTunes or the Google Play Store and you will find it there. Also, social media is a great way to stay updated with the district and with your school events and happenings. The district and schools have various social media accounts. If you go to the communications page on the website, you can see a complete social media directory, and you can find out which social media platforms your school participates in and which ones you may want to follow. And now I'm going to turn it back to Ann Arnold, who has some additional information about kindergarten dates.
Hello again. I'm excited to share with you these dates that are really important to know if you are going to be a kindergarten family for the first time this year. We are announcing our March 4th enrollment time. Senya told you the ways you can enroll. You can either go online and do that, or you can go into the school and fill out paper materials. After the March 4th date, if you need enrollment support in any way, you can go to your student's home school and get that. They can give you the packet to fill out. They can give you access to a Chromebook in the office if they want to. And in fact, some schools have events like natural leader nights or PTA nights or PTSA nights. They might have a multicultural night. And at those events, they are going to have supports for those families who would like additional help with getting their student enrolled. So once you know where your school is, if you need any help with that process, you just need to reach out and find out when they're offering it. Then, really exciting event is called Getting Ready for Kindergarten, Orientation Night, and that's either held in May or the very early part of June. We want to get as many families enrolled as possible. And then the school puts on an event for all of those families to come with their children and have an opportunity to learn more about the school, to participate in activities, and get their questions answered. I should correct that. The orientation night is not typically inclusive of students. It's typically parents and guardians and families. We do have opportunities for students. Many of the schools will do a summer play date on the playground, but you don't get to know any of those things are even happening until you get enrolled and you get to be part of the system using those communication tools that Kathy Reeves just mentioned. Once we know you're at a school, that school is going to communicate to you about all the different opportunities for getting together and helping your student have a smooth transition into kindergarten. The most important one is the Everett Ready program. It runs again Monday, August 19th through Thursday, August 22nd for 3 hours in the morning. It will start at the same time your school is going to start in the fall, and it will end 3 hours later. So it'll either be an early start program like we talked about or a late start program. I saw a question in the Q&A that was whether or not kids could have an experience on buses before school starts. Everett Ready is the experience. They get to go for 4 days to school from their bus stop to get and have that experience and understand where they sit, and know how they navigate that whole process. So Everett Ready is a really critical opportunity for our incoming kindergartners. So try to put it on your date, your schedule, and don't go on vacation, please. Any dates that might change would be would be posted on our website. So make sure that if you have questions, you get closer to an event, you just go on, you can go to your very own school and you can see exactly what's there. Then the next date to be aware of, we mentioned that before too, is the family connection meetings. So the first 3 days of school for students in first grade through 12th grade are September 4, 5, and 6. Kindergartners, however, just come at one time during those 3 days for their family connection meeting with their new teacher and their family. So your child will not go on to school on the bus on the first 3 days of school, but they will go to school with you and get an opportunity to meet their teacher and see their classroom and have yet one more transitional experience before they start school on their own. And the first day of kindergarten attendance, when students come to school for the full day on their own, is Monday, September 9th. And that will be their schedule from that point on. But as you can see, there are many events and opportunities to experience school, to become comfortable with school, so that on that first day, September 9th, it is a really positive and comfortable experience for all of our kindergartners. If you would like to get any more information, you can go onto our website. There are a lot of details there, and we're always glad to answer your questions, as is your school office once you get enrolled, so they know who you are and where you're going to be attending school. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share, and I'm going to turn things over to Shelley Boughton now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anne. So it is really, really important for you to enroll your students starting on March 4th. We really want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need to do that. There are several ways, as Anne mentioned, to enroll. You can enroll online from the comfort of your home. You can print the enrollment paperwork from your home computer, turn it in at your resident area school. You can pick up the paperwork from your resident area school, complete it, and then return it when you're finished. And if you want any additional support in this process, we'd really encourage you to go to the district website to see your school's date for extended office hours, or just actually getting opportunities to connect with your child's elementary school, because they will have some evening opportunities, or they'll have as Anne said, they'll have an evening event that you can come to and get some additional support. No matter what, please make sure you get your enrollment packet if you're going to do it and complete it at that time, or be sure to access a computer so that you can do that. But if you are going to complete it at the school site, we remind you to bring in those required documents: proof of address, proof of age, certificate of vaccination or immunization status, and any other documents that are specific to your student. Now I see there's a couple of questions popping up in the Q&A, and so I'm going to turn that back over to our team if there's any other additional questions that we can respond to about enrolling kids in kindergarten. And if your question is very specific to your student and situation, you can always include your name and email address, and we can respond directly to you in the next couple of days so that it is maintaining some privacy for your student if that is necessary. I don't know, Greta, if I want to turn this over to you. It looks like you guys might be responding to, there's 2 questions in the Q&A right now.
Yes, it looks like one is being responded to. I was just about to respond to the other one, but I can do that in verbally. The first 3 days of school, when you will be attending that family conference, that is just one 30 to 40-minute meeting you'll have with the student's classroom teacher within a school site, and there is no transportation. So the first day of transportation for kindergarten students will be that first full day of school. And that really wraps up what I currently see in the Q&A box. We can stay on for a little bit longer and just verify that nothing else is coming through that chat box so we can ensure that all questions are answered. But I will go ahead and turn it back to Shelley.
Thank you so much, Greta. I just want to take a minute to thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really hope that the information we've shared tonight was helpful in preparing to enroll in kindergarten here in Everett Public Schools. Kindergarten enrollment begins on the March 4th, and we would encourage you to enroll as soon as possible, that starting on March 4th, as it really helps us to be prepared to and ready to welcome your student and your family to Everett Public Schools. Again, if you have a question we were unable to answer for you in our presentation, please be sure to share that question in the Q&A box. You want to include your name and email, and one of our staff can respond to you and your individual question at a later date. And you can also access much of this information on our district website. Or you might even want to just contact your neighborhood elementary school. Our principals and our staff would be more than happy to assist you. Again, I really thank you on behalf of my team. Thank you for all of your attention this evening. We are so looking forward to helping your kindergartner reach a high degree of success in Everett Public Schools this fall. If there are some questions, we will stay on for just a few, but if you have all of the information you need, you're welcome to drop off. Thank you for joining us this evening, and have a wonderful, wonderful night.
I see one question here, Shelley, about the approximate time for the 24-25 school calendar, when they usually come out.
That is typically that is something that we work through with our teacher union, and we negotiate some of those different pieces. Typically speaking, that will come out in the summertime. We traditionally have had school that is actually opens on the Wednesday right after Labor Day, but that will not be confirmed until that calendar comes out, and that's usually in early to late summer.
The first 3 days of Family Connection Conference is a meeting with the parent and the student and the teacher. So yes, you bring your child with.
And I think for this question about out-of-district transfer application, I would actually just encourage you to reach out to the transfer office by phone or by email and just ensure that they have your application. And if they don't, they may give you some suggestion about resending it so that you can have it ready to go for kindergarten enrollment. I see there's a question about twins wanting to be placed in the same classroom. That is something that you would need to have a discussion with your school's principal. They're typically the ones who do the balancing of classes, ensuring that there's kind of some balance of different students, boys and girls, and making sure that class sizes are appropriate. But if you have a question specifically about wanting your 2 students to be placed together, you need to speak to your school's principal. Oh, we've got one more question. Are schools nut or peanut free or just school lunches? It depends on the school. Most schools are not completely nut free, but you may have classrooms or environments where we do have significant allergies. The best way to ensure that you're not sending your child to school with something that could harm another child is to connect with that with your student's principal. They will give you some guidance and ensure that your child is able to eat a healthy lunch that you want them to eat, as well as making sure that all students are safe. Anne, would you like to address, there's a question about parents coming to the first day of Everett Ready. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that protocol?
Sure, I'd be glad to. The Everett Ready program is designed with a parent meeting that is often done in a school on the first day. So some schools have the students come and start the day, and then parents go into the library or the lunchroom or the multipurpose room and meet with the school team, typically the principal or assistant principal and some other members of the staff. That is a perfect opportunity to come on that first day. Other schools, however, will have that meeting in the evening because more parents are able to attend then, or they'll do it partway through the week. It really depends on the specific school. It isn't typical practice for a parent to attend the Everett Ready classroom with students just because there's many, many students and a lot of activity going on. So we recommend that you get your student enrolled and then talk to your office staff about the schedule and find out when they are planning to have their parent meeting during Everett Ready Week. There's lots of opportunities for connecting. And I think if you, once you know where your student's going to be, have them enrolled and start to get communication, you'll see opportunities to be there with your student. We used to always recommend that parents take their kids to play at the playground ahead of time, just as a way to become familiar with the space. So I think all of those are good opportunities to become familiar and help your student make that transition.
There is another question in here. How many students are there in one class? Typically, we have anywhere in between, I would say 20 and 21 students. Anne, is that about right?
Yes, we usually say about 18 to 20, 22 maybe. And that's kind of the range. We have some classrooms that are at the bottom end of that range and some that are at the top.
Thank you. So without further ado, I'm going to say thank you again for attending our kindergarten kickoff presentation this evening. We hope you've learned a lot and thank you for joining us tonight.